Okay, so hello and welcome to Tikkun's first patient conversation in this video format. My name is Sabrina Soto Sugar and I'm the marketing coordinator here at Tikkun.
My name is Asa. I'm the head of R&D at Tikkun.
And we're here to introduce Nikki Lawley, a cannabis patient and advocate with a really compelling story to tell, which we will let her tell more on. Nikki, thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't we get started and dive in? Can you introduce yourself and give us some background on your accident, your condition, and how this initially changed your quality of life?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, you guys. Tycoon is by far my favorite brand. So happy to share my experience because I think it's really important that we all share our stories, that different people can relate to different stories. And so some people might find my story like really hits home with them, but others may not. So I was working as a pediatric nurse and a child didn't want a vaccine. Pretty normal experience in a pediatric routine care kind of setting. So just like any other time, I went in to assist another coworker, and the child was pretty combative. But again, not my first rodeo. Didn't think anything of it. And all of a sudden, I'm behind the child, trying to restrain him, and he ended up tucking his chin, headbutting me frontally, and then I bounced into a wall and back into his head. So it was at the time it happened so quick, and you don't really think anything is going to be different than any other day. But immediately there was like left arm numbness, tingling, kind of deadness, and I was really dazed and really off. I mean, it felt like I just got tackled by, a 700-pound person full force. So, and story, the child got the vaccine and I went off, got my lunch. It was late in the day and it was a 12-hour day. So ran to grab lunch, and I came back. I wolfed down my food and immediately got sick. And the doctor on call that day was he's like, "You've got a concussion, you need to go to urgent care." And I had concussions before. I had knocked myself out on a desk once, and a few little mishaps like that, but this didn't feel like a concussion. This felt like something like was wrong. um but yet it's invisible, right? It's not like I had a broken arm or bone sticking out that you could see something was wrong. But when you talk to me, kind of were pretty quick to realize there's something wrong. I couldn't remember really how it happened. I mean, after telling the story so many times and reliving it, then it kind of becomes second nature. But when you think to that day, I really can't remember it. And that's kind of part of the invisible illness. You don't know it exists. So long story short, I became a patient of the New York State Workers' Compensation System. What a fun, great, patient friendly system that is. Not so much. It was truly unique to go from being the medical provider, support staff, nurse, to now being totally a patient. Um, you're treated different. I can't explain that. I went from having credibility and respect with doctors, with, big time doctors. And now all of a sudden, now I'm a patient that has this symptom of excruciating head pain and neck pain and can't function and can't, depression was setting in, anxiety was setting in. And they basically told me I shouldn't still be having symptoms from a blow to the head 2 weeks late earlier or 6 months earlier, however long the different doctors I saw. They just kept saying, yeah, no, that's really not it. I'm like, well, what about post concussion syndrome? I mean, I've heard of this. And again, I'm a medical professional. So I feel like this should have been trained to me a little bit more. I mean, I didn't have a head injury of this degree until this happened to me. And I didn't know what chronic illness was, what chronic pain was. I didn't understand people that looked fine on the outside, parked in the handicapped parking space, and then all of a sudden they get out of the car just walking in the store. I don't know about you guys, but I've always like been like, what the hell is wrong with you? Did you use grandma's handicap sticker? It was just sort of a judgment thing that you don't realize you're even doing. But let me assure you, the looks I get coming out of my car, coming out of a parking in a handicapped space, I have really bad balance. And so, especially in icy conditions, I live in Buffalo, New York. So it's not real safe for me to come trucking through a parking lot, just because I'm sort of like a wee bull that wobbles. So it's important that people recognize that just because someone parks in a handicapped space doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong with them because you can't see the physical disability. And I think that was a real eye opening thing for me, especially in this quest for diagnosis, because everyone was just kind of blowing me off. And, I'm fighting for just basic physical therapy and psychotherapy and medications. Like it was such a headache because my private insurance wouldn't pay for anything. I had to go through the workers' comp system. So it is so difficult. And I can't even, in this amount of time, share with you how difficult it really is to be on the other side of that system. Um, Basically, I found cannabis by accident, only after being on over 50 different medications over an 18-month period, going to over 50 physicians in different states, countries, really seeking answers because my mind was not working the way it always had been. So that's kind of how it happened and how I came to cannabis, if you will.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's an amazing story. I mean, just heartbreaking, honestly. So what was your first perception of cannabis? Prior to trying it for the first time.
Sure. So I had used cannabis for the first time. I think I was 26 years old. I actually had Lyme disease, and a friend had recommended it for a headache. And that's actually, I then became a recreational consumer on a very occasional basis, not like a daily thing or medicine or anything, but I knew what weed was. And until I never even thought of it as a treatment for my brain injury. I mean, you have a messed up brain. You've always been told all your life drugs are bad for your brain. Why would I think this was a good idea? So I naturally had never even considered it for this head pain and chronic pain and all the other magnitude of symptoms from cognition to just basic skills. And then I was contemplating my death actually in 2017. I was in Las Vegas. My husband tried to cheer me up and be the good guy and, let me just do something and make you smile. There's got to be a way. This just can't be as bad as it is. All these doctors say there's nothing wrong with you. And, it was a really dark time. And I was looking over the balcony at the hotel and I see a billboard going by. Get your medical cannabis, or actually it was medical marijuana card in Nevada today. And I'm like, yeah, right. Okay, let's go smoke some weed. That'll work. And then it came by a second time. And it was just it really stood out. I can't explain it. It was like just this aha moment, right? Like, well, we did help your headache when you had Lyme disease. Maybe it'll work again. So why not like maybe explore this? So my husband came back into the hotel room and I mentioned it to him and he's like, let's go. And I was like, really? I mean, you guys don't know who my husband is, but he's like wicked conservative. Like this would not be what you would expect him to say ever. But I was in such a dark spot that I think he was just pretty much, I will try anything to get you out of this room. Because I wasn't like going to the, dinner or breakfast. I was like literally in the hotel room, had money for gambling, had money for entertainment, and I couldn't make myself go downstairs until that day that I saw that billboard, went and got my medical cannabis card in Nevada. And it was actually a California medical card because Nevada offers reciprocity, which is a pretty cool thing. All states should offer reciprocity. And I don't understand why that is even a thing. I can, if I get hurt and I'm in Las Vegas, I can go to the hospital and they'll give me hydrocodones. Why should I have to, fight for medicine that is the same thing as a hydrocodone in effectiveness, only without the addictive side effects? So it was a really eye-opening experience. That day I found my first cannabis dispensary. Wow. Can I just say what an experience that was? It was literally, it felt so overwhelming. It felt like going into the back of the pharmacy where they keep all the pills and stuff, and going back in there and told, just figure this out, and I mean, like, what was cool was the bud tender was very patient, very understanding. He might have been like 21, and here's this 46-year-old woman, pouring her soul and guts out to him, but he heard it all and he was very kind, and he recommended like everything. I mean, I tried gummies, I tried tinctures, I tried sprays, I tried gum, I tried you name it. I mean, I think I left there with like the max you could possibly buy in a day in Nevada. And my husband's like, what took so long? Oh my God, you were in there forever. But I got educated. I mean, I didn't get educated to the point I am now, but I actually was given baby steps to be able to approach this journey. It got me off the ledge, literally and figuratively. And that's the message. If I share anything else, is you have nothing to lose if you're in that dark space. Try it. It won't push you the wrong way. It will at least maybe allow you to think of something else.
Can you, going into that a bit more, tell us a bit about your experience when finding the strains that worked for you and figuring out what products helped with your symptoms?
Sure. So living in New York, I'm very close to the Canadian border. As a result, Canada had a recreational program. So being so close, when I say close, I'm talking 15 minutes total over the border, real close. So it's just like going to another state with the exception of Border Patrol. And I actually have a storage unit in Canada that holds my medical cannabis for when I go to Canada pre-COVID. Currently, I haven't been able to go to Canada since the end of last year, like 2 of 20, so my medicine's sitting there in the storage unit all by itself, very sad. Living in New York, we don't have access to flower. So yes, everyone has access to flower from illicit means. However, in our New York State medical program, we do not have access to full plant flower medicine. So I actually learned all about cannabis in Canada because I could sample so many different cultivars. I could sample and smell and learn what it means because I had a brain injury. Okay. So I still do. But learning or trying to pick up a book and read and retain is virtually impossible with brain injuries. So I struggled so much. I mean, to hear I have an endocannabinoid system, hello, I'm a nurse, that's bullshit, is what my initial feel was. It was like, absolutely not. That is not right. And so then I kept trying to find someone, not to argue with me on it, but explain to me how I went through nursing school, how I'm a smart human, and I have never heard of an ECS system. And then I learned about it, and then it sunk, and then it made sense why this plant can actually transform lives. It is medicine. And learning different smells meant this is a terpene. Different flavors meant this is a flavonoid, and just trying to understand which ones worked and which ones didn't. In Vegas, I happened to find in a subsequent trip a cultivar called A-dub. And ADub has this beautiful mix of whatever in it. It's like a magic potion. And so every strain has been compared to this ADub. ADub is like my prize. Okay. And so every strain has to get compared to, because that's the strain that made me focus the most and function. And it's like the sweet spot that we're all looking for. But I'm in New York and it's in Nevada. I can't get my sweet spot in New York again. So I'm reliant on names of things that, who knows if that's really it. It's not like I get a certificate of analysis from, Joe down the street who got it from Sam on the corner of whatever and whatever. So I do not like that system. I love a Nevada like type system that gives you COAs, puts your primary terpenes on there, has labeling that is not hieroglyphics that you can actually understand. One thing that I've found in different states, they do different ratios. And do you have any idea how confusing that is for a person who's never seen cannabis labels? Like in California, they do the CBD first to the THC. So a 1 to 3 is 1 part CBD, right? 3 parts THC. And then in New York, it's totally the opposite. It's 20 to 1. That is 20 parts THC, not CBD, THC to 1 part CBD. And you guys, I mean, I got a brain injury. Imagine my surprise when I'm arguing with someone in California saying, no, you got it wrong. It's really this way. And they're like, no. And it's crazy that we have to experience so many different challenges just between different markets. And, the Canadian market's completely different than the US market. Yet many Canadian companies are actually coming into the US space. So what that's doing is their influence is actually helping some of these states from places of unknown to actually have a beginning foundation and a roadmap, if you will, of how to maybe think about doing things. But like I said, California completely threw me off. Looking at their products, it was just like, what? And honestly, I found smoking the plant works by far the best for me. I know it's controversial. I know many people poo-poo smoking. If I could find another means of usage that gave me the same rapid onset, the same next to no side effects as far as interactions with other medicines, having, potential chemical issues once you're going through the digestive system, none of that happens when you smoke. It's easy on and easy out. So it's quick onset, but it's out of your system. So if you're having an adverse reaction or it's not the strain for you, it's out of your system within 3 hours. It's not like an edible that you could go on a magic carpet ride for God knows how long, if that's not your strain for real. So I'm a true believer in smoke, and I love my limonene, pinene, and what else? Limonene, pinene, and humulene. Humulene are my 3 terps. I mean, it's normally second nature, but it just kind of left me for a second there. And I actually had the great experience of experiencing Tikkun Olam on an accidental trip the end of the year last year, going to Massachusetts. Super crazy story. I had never been to Massachusetts, never been to Boston. And it's crazy because where I was staying was about 20 minutes from the dispensary where this product was. And you guys happened to have just launched your Tikkun products like that weekend. And it was just so crazy that I was able to experience it. I had heard about your brand. I had seen all the research, and I love how you're medically focused and your studies. Every single thing about what Tikkun does really resonated with me because it's so medically focused. We're not talking about hitting bongs, and we're not talking about, getting high. We're talking about it as medicine. And I can look you guys in the eye and say, I don't get high. I get medicated. I don't even feel I get elevated. I mean, people say they get elevated. I mean, I get normal. I get to the point where I'm stable. And that's what the ECS system does for us. It When you smoke the right products, when you use the right cannabis, it fills that lock and key and everything just flows. It just goes. And this plant saved my life. And no one should have to fight to get access for it. No one should be in jail. I shouldn't have to worry. New York State just legalized, you guys, March 31st. So today's what, April 21st. So 420 yesterday. But it's truly amazing. We now are in our first legal New York State 420. No one's afraid to go out of their house anymore and smoke their medicine. Up until that passed, there was real fear in the air. I mean, at least for me, I didn't feel comfortable like sparking in a corner off to the side. We need to remove the stigma from the plant and for people that need to smoke. Unfortunately, I have a unique digestive system and I don't metabolize fat soluble products as well as other people. I don't have a gallbladder and I had weight loss surgery. So while I would love to be able to do tinctures and, pretty little pills, they don't work. So that's kind of my summary, if you will.
No, that's awesome, Nikki, and just such great information. I mean, it's like such a pleasure to talk to you. One question I do have is, when you're kind of talking about how certain products have worked for you, certain ones haven't, and it took you a long time to kind of find your niche of what really hits. What advice do you have for somebody who's brand new, never tried a cannabis product before, but they're exploring, they don't want to maybe get, well, I guess, what's your advice for somebody trying a new product for the first time? And like, how do you think they should go about exploring the whole world of, the wide array of different offerings that are out on the market these days?
Sure. So my biggest advice is find a cannabis buddy, someone that you trust that really knows what cannabis is. I mean, I was so fortunate having many Canna sisters and Canna friends in Canada that taught me. Trying to just walk into a dispensary sight unseen, having no clue what the plan is, like I did, it could be really overwhelming. So if you have the ability of having a friend, or I found so many support systems through Facebook. Okay. Everybody poo-poos on Facebook and we all get banned and there's issues and they hate cannabis, but that's where I found the most support. That's where you can find your cannabis buddy and feel confident that you're at least in the right company. So Cannabis Buddy would be number one. Number two, if you're astute, I would highly recommend following, reputable brands, those that are in multiple states, those that have a following that's real. Don't go just Google THC or CBD. Go to somewhere that has an established brand, such as Tycoon Olam's website, such as the Medical Cannabis Primer is a great source that I've learned so much information from. Ruth Fisher has the medicalcannabisprimer.com. That's an amazing source of information. So that's just two off the top of my head. So, I mean, there's millions more. But one of the things that's really lacking in our industry is there's lots of great independent sources of information, but it's really hard to find it. It's all based on, the search engine optimization things, or how much you pay Google, or how much you pay someone to rank in their search engine. That doesn't mean that the guy on page 8 doesn't have valuable information. It just means he didn't know what he was doing when he listed his site. So all I'm saying is you've got to do your own homework. For my particular condition with brain injury, I sought fellow survivors of brain injury. And that's what really helped me. asking, have you guys tried cannabis? Have you guys tried mushrooms? Have you guys tried, what worked for you? What didn't work for you? And everybody's system is different. Everybody reacts differently to different drugs. Cannabis is no different than a pharmaceutical. Some people are going to have really great effects. Others might not notice a difference right away. Don't give up. I mean, it took me so many times of smoking different things. And when you can really be in a legal market where you can actually know what you're smoking and know what you're testing and having various cultivars, it's so awesome because then you can see what the terpenes are and the minor cannabinoids are in that strain. So you can then know what worked. Okay. So then 30 minutes later, you evaluate, okay, I still feel good. Ooh, an hour later, I still feel good. Oh, I'm not feeling so good. Now I'm really tired after 2 hours. So maybe that's not, you've got to do your own research and your own documentation to try and home in to your correct medicine, I guess is the best way I'd say it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks. I'm sure new patients will appreciate that advice for sure. I also wanted to ask, with your experience with Cocoon products, did you have a favorite strain of ours that specifically helped with your brain injury symptoms?
So I got all pre-rolls from you guys. So, and it was like 50 million degrees below zero in Boston when I was there. So standing outside trying to really scientifically analyze the strains the way I do now did not happen. So I did, however, find all of them had wonderful aromas. I found that they burned well, despite having wind and issues all around me. Midnight, which I was really kind of hesitant to actually use because it was a 1-to-1, and I'm usually I found that high THC versus low CBD has worked better. You guys, I gotta tell you, the bud tender at Panacea Wellness, he told me, he's like, oh, this midnight is really good. I'm like, yeah, it's a 1-to-1. It won't work. And but I'm so glad I bought it because by far it was my jam. I mean, it was awesome. It was not too much. It really improved my cognition. And I'll be honest, I don't even know what terps are in it because it was too cold outside to really do a lot of research. But I can tell you it was awesome. And I'm not saying the other ones weren't, but Midnight really stood out for me and really made a huge difference. So I can tell you that without hesitation. I'd love the opportunity to try again in less windy, cold conditions for sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you for your answers. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and answer all the questions we had for you today.
Absolutely. Invite me back anytime. And, any way I can help you guys market, I'm happy to. You do an outstanding job with everything.
Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks, Nikki.
And for the record, Midnight's my favorite strain too. So I completely agree with you on that one.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Cool. I think we have a couple questions that you answered, but we just want to record them so we can edit them in to make it seem like we asked them.
Sure.
So we'll just go ahead and we'll just say those for the camera. Right, Sabrina, is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I'm trying to think which ones. I think the only one we need to ask is, can you tell us about your journey exploring cannabis? No, I think do you have one written down that you want to ask? I think we might have covered them.
I mean, I didn't mean to. I tried to think of
you were totally fine.
Okay, I tried to think of them and include them, kind of.
Yeah.
No, Nick, you were amazing. I swear, I think I asked the second question, what was your original perception about cannabis use? And the second part of that was, what point did you decide to try it? And what was the experience like? And you just said all that anyway. So that was like perfect.
Okay.
So yeah, no need to apologize at all. It was actually ideal. You were like reading minds.
Do you guys work with the guy Gardner?
Stephen Gardner.
Yes, Stephen, him.
Yeah.
So you work with him. So
Mhm.
is he the one who told you to check me out?
I think he received an email from you and he forwarded
Yes.
it to me because I work more directly with marketing efforts. So
Got
he was
it.
the one that forwarded that gave us the
Okay.
information.
Okay. It's all making sense now. Because
Yeah.
I read somewhere you've got headquarters in New York, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm so confused. And so,
Yeah.
That's old news. I think that was when they first incorporated. It was in New York, but with the
okay.
idea that it would start there, but it didn't pan out.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
We're mainly based out of Miami at the moment, is where most of the team works.
Okay. But you've got a facility in Cali too, correct?
Yes.
That's where I live. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
It's so funny too, Nikki. We've been connected on LinkedIn for I don't know how long. I'm not sure when we did connect, but so I've seen your name pop up on my feed a lot, and that was like, so I knew about you before we ended up like reaching out to this interview. So
Wow.
you've definitely been on my radar for sure. Yeah, I see your posts and comments on there a good amount.
Awesome. Thanks. I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. Imagine if I had a marketing human that could
Mhm.
actually do shit. I mean, it would really be lit because you have no idea how many people just reach out to me and say, you impacted me so much. I really related to your story. I mean, like privately, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That are in comments, and you don't realize the impact you make on people. But
Yeah.
my story needs to be told. Everyone's story needs to be told.
Yeah.
And finding a vehicle of being able to do that in a way that can impact people, you
Totally.
know?
Definitely.
And I mean, hey, like I said, if we can do something in New York, you guys, the sky is the limit. And I'm finalizing my gig with the doctor in Nevada, the brain doctor, the
Mhm.
Yeah.
woman who wants to
Yeah.
launch a product line. But and Ellen Blanchette, the Maya Jane people, like it's all going very well. But I just before I get too dived into another aspect, I want to make sure that first aspect's secure because I'm a chick of my word. So I don't
Of
ever
course.
commit to something I can't do. So
Yeah. Also, speaking of marketing efforts, I am working on more promotional material that we'll send over to you before we're even ready to post the video. And so
okay,
then we can create a timeline together of maybe posting a few times the week before and then releasing the video. So I'll keep you posted as that comes about
cool.
next
You make the post and you share it. I
week.
can then share it, no problem.
Perfect. Okay.
Like Insta, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'll share it on groups. I mean, I'm part of like 786 groups. I mean, I've got a
Great.
crazy research reach.
Yeah. That sounds great. Thank you.
And Nikki,
Awesome.
the other thing we're hoping to do with this, this interview with you is kind of the first one we're doing, but we really do want to start getting more patient stories out there, more engagement. And one of the things you mentioned during the interview, which is, something we've actually talked about internally, is trying to make all this information easier to access, centralizing it, standardizing it, making it easier to digest. Because I think, a lot of the things that I find when I'm doing research is a lot of papers and really good information, but it just hasn't been digested and processed into a way that people can consume. And a lot of the times when it is, it's not very accurate. Like I read a lot of things on like Leafly and other places like that, and it's like they'll just make all kinds of crazy claims that are like not really rooted in any real research or information. So yeah, that's kind of our goal too, is to start to like hopefully centralize, I guess, ideally at Tikkun being the place, a lot of that medical research and information, and just even outside of our products and our own research.
Yeah, I think there's such a need for it. And I actually created for this doctor with Ruth this Alzheimer's disease and cannabis presentation. And in it, we discuss having the central hub of having holistic providers, having Western medicine providers, and having a source of reliable data, all things Alzheimer's and
Yeah.
cannabis. But
Mhm.
cannabis just being like one wheel of it. But patients really struggle.
Yeah.
Like the Brain Injury Association has no comment on cannabis. They won't like go one way or the other.
Right.
And I could be such an outreach for them that it's just silly.
Yeah.
We're letting the war on drugs still war, and that needs to change. So
Really.
I'm doing the best I can that just trying to really raise awareness and remove the stigma.
You're doing awesome. And out of curiosity, is that presentation something you'd be able to like share with me? I'd love to see it if possible.
Yeah, yeah, I'm happy to share it. Just
Cool.
if you use it anywhere, man, just damn it, include me. That's all
Oh,
I ask.
Always credit you. Everyone.
We're not in
I'm
the
not.
business of taking other people's stuff.
I mean, I'm a connector. That's like where my skill set lies.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you know, I'm not here to do all this NDA shit and all these letters of intent and all this crap. I just want to be able to be real and not worry that it's like a knife coming down and slicing me in the back. That's